What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wine on the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Wonderfest build series and the green strawberry Razor Crest. Now, this is kind of a quick little episode, and I really am kind of proud of the work that I have done in creating some lighting for this kit. And I was kind of going, I recorded a segment, it didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, and then the LEDs burnt out. And they burnt out because I wasn't paying attention to how electronics work, and let's just say that I shorted things out when I was going into the break-in period. So instead of re-recording that segment for that video for this weekend, I was like, let's go ahead and show it as a quick little episode and just a quick demonstration of how quick and easy it is to do some lighting for your Razor Crest. Now, for this one, very simply, what I've done before shooting, what I have is one 5mm red LED, and then I have 4 yellow, basically candle flickering LEDs. And what I've done is I've gone through and just kind of done some of the tedious work, and I soldered a 150R, I believe it is, resistor to each one of these leads. I went to the positive side, although it doesn't really matter. But I went ahead and put the resistor on, and then attached a piece of wire, and then I put some shrink wrap around each one. I just wanted to go ahead and it's kind of like tedious work, and I'm not the greatest at soldering. So, basically we're going to do a little bit of soldering here, but it's going to be more about the demonstration of and how you can create an engine lighting mod for this. That's actually fairly simple to pull off, and one that looks really, really good. So, what we're going to start with is, I'm going to go ahead and pull these off to the side, and I'm going to start with the single red 5mm LED, and I'm going to just put this one right here in the middle. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lead here, and I'm going to bend the positive side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger just like this. I'm going to push up and towards my finger, and then kind of create a hook in just like that. I'm going to make sure that this piece is nice and flat, and then where that's going to go is right there. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So once again, I'm just going to hold my finger just like that. I'm going to push up and in, being gentle. I'm not trying to go too crazy. Then we were going to take this, flatten that out, just like that. Then, doesn't have to be perfect. You can get these and readjust them later. You got to be careful though. You don't want to bend this too many times because you can break the leads inside. Okay. So then, what we're going to do, very simply, is just take that and set it just like so. Now, what I'm going to do real quick in order to secure this is I'm just going to grab some of my AK, I think this is the 2mm curved line tape. Or is it 4? No, that's the 2. Don't really have much use for this stuff. AK is alright. Their paints are great. Their tape is... No, it's okay. We'll just leave that there. I'm just going to grab a strip of the tape. Cut that off. Then what I'm going to do is hold this, keep those leads in place. Then just going to, and like the curved line tape is basically electrical tape, so don't feel weird about doing this. But I'm just going to secure this in. Oh no. And I'm just using it as a very loose, tape job. I'm not trying to, actually tape anything in place. I'm just trying to hold these in place so I can move on to the next ones. And there we are. So, just like that. It's taped in place. Doesn't need to be perfectly taped or anything like that. We're going to be using our shrink wrap to hold it over, so this is just a temporary measure. Okay. Just like that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make the same move here. And there we are. And I'm going to use something other than this curved line tape because it kind of sucks, if I'm being real. So I'm just going to grab some of my Tamiya masking tape. Can't go wrong with Tamiya. That's what I did on the other side, and it worked totally fine. I was like, but you know, I'm demonstrating here. Okay. The interior thought process, just so to say. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and set this one so it's sitting 90 straight up, just like that, basically. And, God, this tape sucks so much. Gone. Okay. Okay. And we're just going to get that one loosely taped into place. We're just going to hold it. Not going to go too crazy. Once again, shrink wrap is going to hold it in place. So now, let's go ahead and do the same thing with our last piece. So once again, I'm just going to hold right at the end of the LED. And push forward. And flatten out. And grab one last little piece of tape here. And very simply, get this one put into place right at the very top. Secure it down. Once again, doesn't need to be perfect. Once we get the shrink wrap on, everything is going to be movable. Okay, so that is all five, excuse me, of our LEDs kind of put into place. Now I'm going to be this tape is not, do how you see fit, and let's just say that. Now, I am going to take the one negative lead and then the 5 positive leads that are coming out from the center. I'm going to isolate them. So I want to start with the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and get my shrink wrap over here. Get over the top of that. All the way, get all of them all the way through, and make sure that all the wires make their way through. Now, push your piece up all the way to the very top. Remove your tape. That's why I recommend like the Tamiya tape and stuff like that, and like it's not too difficult to remove. Do not use electrical tape unless you're planning on securing it, and even then, still don't recommend that. The shrink wrap will work just fine, and you want to be able to move these parts around. Okay. So now, probably the tape, now that I realize, can be just avoided by putting all the pieces in there. So, done tape. Ignore everything I just did. So now, you're just going to go ahead and push these pieces that are curved down and in and position them just the way you want them. I'm going to have the center LED sticking out about yay much. Okay. I'm going to position them at like 1 and, well, I guess that would be like what? 1 and 11 and 5 and 7, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my iron here, or what do you want to call this? The heat gun. Let me go ahead and shrink this up. Okay, so that's nice and shrunk in. So now you have that stupid AK tape. Don't tape. Just don't. Just put your shrink wrap over the top. This AK tape is just brutal. Regretting using it immediately. Regrets have been had. Okay. So now I'm just going to basically, just very carefully, string everything out here. And now, what we're going to do is very carefully take our LED, our negative lead, and just kind of bend it down slightly, just like that. And we're going to go to do that with all four. Just like that. Just bending it slightly down so that it will easily meet. Just like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of them together, just like that. Then, we're going to run every one of our wires through this piece of shrink wrap, which is a bit of a PIA if I'm being real. Or, you know, pain in the ass. There we go. There we are. I want to make sure that everything pulls out. Alright. God, I'm an idiot. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to slide this up over where we already just did. Oop. And we're going to get the negatives tucked up in there. And you want to push up about that far or so. Okay. Make sure you have all your wires out. Straightened out. Alright, so just like that. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my heat gun. And shrink this up. Alright, that looks good. Perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. So now I'm just going to go through and once again readjust, make sure everything looks in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of angle these in just a little bit. Just so they're kind of pointing, like they're hooking in towards the center. Like that. Perfect. There we are. That one's straighten off to the side. A little janky. That's fine now. No worries. So now, what I'm going to do is separate all my negatives. And all my positives. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down about 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut all of these off. And then do the same thing over here. Because what I want to do is I want to get these down to 1 lead. And I'm going to up the gauge of the wire for more power consistency, so to say. Just going to give our little wire pieces off to the side here. So we're going to use the derpiest wire cutters on all of YouTube. We're going to go ahead and cut off each one of our ends here. These things are great, by the way. If you're doing any sort of like small wire work, you don't really need to think about it. You just put the thing in there and it just goes. And if you have googly eyes, like I do, fantastic place for them. And you can set your gauge and how far back you want it cut and all those things, which is great. Since I put googly eyes on them, I've been such a huge fan, I might just leave them on my workbench going forward. Every time I see it, I just laugh. And I hope it's the same for you guys. Big shout out to Ken Horvath for giving this idea to me. Alright, let's go ahead and get our clean up. Let's go ahead and get our area cleaned up and get our clean up. Wow. Alright, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get all of our positives together. Go ahead and give them the old twisty twist. Just make sure that I got all of them together. Now I have gone through, like I said, and if I haven't said, I'm going to say it now. I've gone through and broken in these lights, so they've been running for 24 hours under power. And just a reminder that if you are using LEDs and lighting up your models, you want to let them, the lights that you're about to use, you want to test them and let them run for about 24 hours. Because if they run for 24 hours without an issue, they'll pretty much will run for the entire life. You'll find out quickly within the first 24 hours if you have any issues. So, we have ourselves a negative and a positive end. So, what we're going to go ahead and do is bring in... Oh, can't have Steve. We're going to call you Steve. I'm kind of dumb. We can't have Steve face down on the mat. That's not okay. Face down, ass up? No! I'm not monetized. I can say these things. Alright, went ahead and grabbed some 22 gauge wire. This is 28. We're going up to 22 here. And I just want a higher gauge of wire as the main power source running through the model. Going to be only running 5 volts. But I'm going to be running a bunch of things. Like, for instance, you know, there's going to be 10 LEDs on this particular light setup. And it's going to pull about 0.08 amps, somewhere in that neighborhood. Combined, the two pull about 0.16, and it varies between 0.14 and 1.6, somewhere in that neighborhood. Amps on 5 volts. So I want to make sure that I have the ability for that power to be running for a while. So I got my solder here, and I am just going to very simply, and I say very simply, I need to get some better helping hands. I know that. I know. But these work. It works. Because I'm just able to do that. Works just fine. Alright, just going to solder our ends here. Once again, I am horrible at soldering. I'm learning. The things that I do work, I guess. Kind of here, I guess. That was a very horrible solder. Let's separate the pieces in there. Get them back together. I'll show my struggle today, guys. That is absolutely an editing candidate for me. Nice. One's connected. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with our positive. And We're just going to run some shrink wrap over the top of it, and we're almost done, my friends. Pretty simple lighting mod, but one that is going to just make all of the difference in the world with our green strawberry kit. Oh. I've never learned how to solder, and so I'm just out here doing things, guys. Like, I need to watch some videos, apparently. I heard of this platform. It's called YouTube. Lots of videos out there about things. All sorts of things, you guys. Making models, lighting, chips. It's crazy. It's a pretty cool place to hang out with you guys. Alright. So, I think that's good to go. Let's go ahead and turn off our soldering iron before I forget about it. Alright, let's go ahead and get this piece let's go ahead and get this set off to the side. It can cool down. Go back to its home. Alright. Let's go ahead and get our solder put away. Get our tape put away. Get our tweezers put away. All of the things. Alright. Let's go ahead and run some shrink wrap up. And I'm going to run this as far up as it will go. Trying to get over the top of the wires. Right over the middle. So we don't have any of those 5 wires coming out from that side exposed. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do the same thing here for the negative side. Get this covered up. Pull this across the top. And in. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and get these sealed up. Alright. And there we are, my friends. One complete engine LED. Now, I bet you guys want to see this lit up, huh? So, I'll go ahead and bring over the first one that I did. And here we are. I did this one in green. It's a little bit bigger. I'm going to go ahead and collapse these in a little bit more. Once again, like every time you do something, you get a little bit more efficient. And where I was a little bit better here was more of a slope effect with these ones versus like this. So I can go ahead and clean this up. That's not a worry. But there they are. Let's go ahead and get... This one has been tested. It works well. So let's go ahead and light these up. I got a bunch of little wire scraps here. I've been saving some of these, but then it's starting to get a little out of control, if I'm being real, so we're going to stop doing that. Plenty of wire. I say until I have no extra little pieces of wire. Okay. Here's the moment of truth. Did I break anything? I did not. There it is. Let me go ahead and... I'm going to adjust my exposure. I'm standing up. Apologize for the screen shifting. I locked it in. There we go. Alright, so there we are. I went ahead and I figured out how to adjust my exposure and everything. So that's what it looks like from the side. And it's kind of like very subtle. But then when you look at it straight on, you got like the center like basically being the fire at the center of the engine, and then the outside is just like the hot fire in the middle, and then the flames are on the outside. So let me go ahead and bring over the mod piece, and I will be right back. All right, my friends, there it is. As a little sneak peek for Saturday's episode, There we are. It's kind of a pain to do this, so I'm standing up. Sorry if sound sounds a little weird, but that is the engine. Oh, buddy. That turned out so good. I am super pleased. And what we're going to do when we install this fits perfectly inside of the engine pod. What we're going to do is we're going to set this back just a little bit, and then we're going to put, sorry, get the angle right here. And then I'm going to put some cotton in between just to kind of diffuse the heavy light. But that, oh, buddy, it just turned out so good. That, my friends, is my custom lighting for the engine mod for the green strawberry Razor Crest. Man, this is so cool. I love the fact that I know how to work with electronics now. Not the greatest, but hey, not the worst either. So there we go. So this week, obviously being Star Wars week, tomorrow we're going to have a premiere of our new series, a limited series. We'll probably only have it around for a week or two. But we have the new 4D R2-D2 coming up, and he will be debuting tomorrow. And then we have a big episode of the D'Agostini Falcon on Friday, as it is our second major milestone as we've crossed the 25% mark on our model. And then on Saturday, we're going to be coming back with the Razor Crest, and we're going to be installing 3 mods into the model, and that's going to be all 3 of the engine mods. Everything's all ready to go, so I'm super excited for it. And then we're also going to have an episode on Sunday with another episode of R2-D2. So that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that you guys had a million things to do today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me light up a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that this is the way.